now is introduce our keynote. He is a gentleman that has a compelling story. I've known him for several years now. Has quite the story to tell. And you're going to learn in just a minute why and how it's so compelling. I can tell you that he, since he was here, he lives his life in a completely different way. His outlook is different than it was before. He sees life through a different lens now, as you might imagine. And that's very exciting for those of us who know him, those of us who meet him, and certainly for Kevin, his family, and his supporters. He is a gentleman. He is a bona fide gentleman. And we are so fortunate that he is with us today. Please help me welcome our keynote speaker, Kevin Kirksey. Go.
Is my mic on? Yeah, I guess so. My wife says I talk loud enough at home, so maybe I don't need this. So wow, that was quite a welcome. Thank you, Randy. I really appreciate that. And thanks all of you for allowing my heart the opportunity to speak today. You know, with God's help, I hope to inspire each and every one of you in some way before my talk is over. You know, we don't always get a chance to see the more raw or intimate moments of somebody's journey. And with that in mind, I'd like to draw your attention to somebody that's been with me the entire way. You see, I fell in love with her 40 years ago the day we met. We've been married for 38 years. June, would you raise your hand? This is my wife, June Kirksey. and also by a show of hands, how many of you in here have either known somebody or currently know somebody that's been affected or impacted by heart disease? Just raise your hand. Look around. It's no wonder the American Heart Association goes on record to say this is the #1 killer in the world, the #1 killer in the United States, the #1 killer in North Texas, ahead of all cancers combined. Every 40 seconds in this great country, somebody suffers a heart attack. I did the math the other day. That's 2,160 heart attacks in one day. And by the grace of God and the efforts of countless people, and you met several of them just a moment ago, I am here. But I'm here with a heart filled with desire to make a difference, to make an impact. June and I have often been asked to tell our story. And I kind of struggle with that because we really don't have a story. You see, June and I are just characters in one chapter of a great story that's being told by the Heart Hospital. I can share with you a little bit about that chapter, though. You see, my life was perfect. And my perfect life at the time was really the calm before the storm, a very big storm that was heading my way. I had no symptoms. I had no signs of any health issues, no nothing. I felt perfect. I was leaving a routine annual doctor's appointment just over here at Pavilion 1. And on my way out, I stopped and I turned, and out of my mouth came a question that I had not been thinking about. And that question later proved to save my life, and that question later proved to me that there is divine intervention. Hey, Doc, I feel great. I feel fantastic. I hope you don't think this is strange or weird, but is there something maybe we should check on the inside of my body? He thought about it and said, yes, I'd like to have you go do a coronary calcium scan. I said, sure. Well, how bad can that be? It's 10 minutes. They take pictures and out you go. On the way to the elevator that day, I just happened to go past the x-ray lab, and I stopped in there and I said, hey, is this where you do these scans? And they said, yes, we do. And what's your name? And we see that your doctor has ordered one. We can take you right now. And I said, no, I'm too busy. This was a Friday. Would you like to come back Monday morning? Sure. You know, and honestly, I said sure just to get out of the situation. I had never really acted on my health in my life, but over the weekend, something told me perhaps I should go take this test. I go take the test. The only thing different between my experience with the test and what they told me was, they told me it was 10 minutes. It felt like it was 30, 40 minutes for me. I jump on a plane. I go out to Northern California on business. I'm on my first business meeting. My cell phone rings. It's the doctor's office. I immediately sent it to voicemail because I think they're calling to tell me the good results. They called 1 minute later, and I sent it to voicemail again, thinking it was a mistake. They called me 2 more times in the next 10 minutes, and I said, somebody's trying to get a hold of me. Called back to my doctor's office, got Nurse Kathy on the phone. I said, Kathy, somebody's trying to reach me. She said, Kevin, it was me. The results of your tests were not good. I said, well, what does that mean? She goes, it's the worst the doc's ever seen. I said, well, okay, what does that mean? She says, it means you are at an extreme risk of a cardiac event or a stroke at any moment. I'm thinking to myself, my next step could be my last. Kathy, what do I do? Well, we made arrangements for you to see a cardiologist up here at Legacy Heart just down the road, and we need to get you in there this afternoon so they can take a look at you and begin testing. I'm in California. What do I do? She said, can you remain calm and come home immediately? I went back to the airport. I got on a plane. I had to call June to say, I just got here to California, but I'm coming home. There's a problem. So I got on the Wi-Fi of the airplane coming home, and June was on the internet. We were emailing back and forth. We were looking at this calcium scan. What is this test? What does it produce? We both found a chart that goes from 0 to 400. 0 is what you want. 400 is what you don't want. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't be 0 because they told me it was bad, and I certainly can't be 400 because I saw a description on Dr. Google that said, probability exists for extensive cardiac damage. I said, that can't be me. I don't have damage. I feel great. The next morning, on the way up to see the cardiologist, I called Nurse Kathy to find out what my score was. I was right. It wasn't 0. It wasn't 400. It was 6,518. It was so far off the charts, I'm surprised I didn't wreck my car. I said, Kathy, something is wrong. This does not make any sense. I can't conceive of this. Kevin, the technician, couldn't believe it either, and she ran the test 3 times. That explained to me why my test took 30 minutes. She got the same result, and they verified and confirmed that machine had been calibrated just the day before. So after further testing, I was given one option for survival, and it ended up to be an open heart cardiac bypass surgery, which I had here. I spoke earlier about the intimate moments. We chose to stay the night before surgery at one of the hospitals just across the parking lot here. We did that because there was an ice storm coming to Dallas, and we didn't want any part of trying to fight the ice on the way up to the hospital. And I really wanted to be at my home, but here I am in this hotel room, the TV's on, the heater is humming. You've heard this before, and June comes to the bed, and she puts the TV on pause, and she said, Kevin, I'd like to ask you a favor. Well, sure, my wife, what favor would you like? She goes, oftentimes when people come out of these type of surgeries, they come out referring to and talking about a light that they're quite attracted to. And if you see the light, don't be afraid of it, but I need to ask you a very, very, very selfish question. If you see this light and you're attracted to it, and even if you see your mom and dad and you want to go to them, please fight it. Please don't go. I'm not ready for you to leave. Moments before being wheeled into surgery the next morning, June's on one side. I look up at her face. Her face is quite calm, but I see terror in her eyes. I look at my son. His name is Kevin. His face looks quite calm. I see he's discombobulated because I can imagine he's this young man sitting there saying, here's my father, the indestructible one, lay in front of me broken, and I can't do anything about it. I was at my life's heightened sense of vulnerability and fear. And as they're wheeling me into the operating room, all I could think to do is close my eyes. And I can share with you the prayer I said. Dear God, I have come to terms with my mortality. My precious wife is not ready for my passing. Please take me today if it is your will to do so. And if I am to survive, I'd like your help in achieving a bucket list of the 3 most essential items in my life. Number 1, I'd like to dance with my wife again. Number 2, I'd like to hold hands with my wife and take a walk. And number 3, I'd like to meet and get to know my unborn grandchild. Thank you for the life you've been giving to me so far. I give myself entirely and completely up to you. About that time, I wheeled into the operating room. I was in OR number 1 here at the hospital. It's 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. It was early. And I saw people and lights, and I didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden, I felt prayer coming over me. It was almost as if I was laying underneath a waterfall of prayer. And it occurs to me that a number of people that I work with told me they were going to start praying for me about the time my surgery began. Well, here's the great news. I did feel and I did hear their prayer. And the even greater news is God answered mine. You see, because I've achieved my life's bucket list already. I have nothing else. I don't want to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro or anything else. I've danced with her, we've taken a walk, and I have the most beautiful grandson you can ever imagine. So, I got to tell you, I just love this theme, Works of Heart. When I first heard about it, I was so inspired, and to see the artwork out in the lobby is just amazing, these great artists with these great patient stories. But as I'm looking at them, it occurs to me that maybe perhaps there's a work of heart that's missing. You see, these works of heart are about these great artists and these phenomenal patients that survived and have a great story. But I didn't see one about the unsung heroes that made these possible. And with your blessing, I would like the opportunity, I'd like the privilege and the opportunity of painting that for you right now. I'm going to give this work of heart that I paint a name, and I'm going to call it The Little Things. You see, the canvas I'm going to use for this piece of artwork is the countless, selfless, tireless, passionate, talented people that work in this facility. And I don't mean just the great surgeons. I'm talking about the valet people, the food service, the facilities people, the nurses, the administration, the technicians, everyone. And the brushes that I use to draw these unsung heroes on the canvas are going to be my words. And the colors that I use for this painting are going to be my heartfelt sincerity that I put into it. So, the little things. I believe that all little things, all big things are made possible by little things with lasting impressions. Randy said I'm living a new life. I am. I gave it a name. I call it Life 2.0. And that came about as a number of little things that have made lasting impressions. My most prominent memory of being in this heart hospital was all the little things that these people, many of you that you've seen were up here just earlier, did for me and my family. You see, it's the little things that all of these people do for their patients that affirm their patients' value, relevance, and importance. It's the little things that do that. And I came to observe by being in this hospital and came to learn that when you affirm another person's value, relevance, and importance, that's a form of love. And that's a form of love that we all can give. And it's a form of love that I received every minute while I was in this hospital. It's also a form of love that brings life to people. Try it out. Go tell somebody today how important they are in your life and how important they are to this world. Hold the door open for a stranger. Do something to affirm the value, relevance, importance of another human being. And you know what? You will see life. You will see them come to life at that moment. I find it very profound. See, I counted and documented over 120 little things that occurred with me while I was in this hospital. I wrote them all down. I'll share a few of them with you. Upon the cardiologist telling me I had one option for survival, I said, I need your help with two things that I can't accomplish myself. Something's telling me I need to move as fast as I possibly can. Will you help me with that? And I don't know anything about cardiac surgeons. Would you find one for me? And in baseball terms, I said, would you find me a starter? I don't want a bench warmer. Find me a really good one. He says, just a moment. He steps out. He comes back in the room 3 or 4 minutes later. He says, I've got great news. We're going to move very fast, and I found a starter that's going to accept your case. When June and I, and the act of just listening and acting, that little thing made all the difference in my life, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. When June and I sat down and met with this starter, he was like any other surgeon. He told me what was wrong with me, and he told me how he was going to fix it. But he said something to me that I will go to my grave with. He says to me on the way out, I'm honored, grateful, and privileged for the trust and faith you are giving me by putting your life in my hands. This is an icon of a surgeon at this hospital, getting down to that personal level with the patient and telling me that. You know, this gentleman invited me to observe an open heart surgery not too long ago. I was in the operating room. I got to see it. And afterwards, it changed my life. And I wrote the surgeon an email, and I said, Dr. Moore, told him what my experiences are. But in that email, I said, I no longer think of you as a surgeon. I now think of you as an artist. So how fitting is that relative to this theme, Works of Heart, and the artistry that goes behind it? I had an IV nurse that sensed I was a little nervous, and she put her hands on my hand and she said, Kevin, nothing's going to happen to you until you're ready. So why don't we just sit here and visit and be calm, and you just let me know when you're ready. That was very kind. I had to have my blood sugars tested every hour on the hour when I was recovering in the hospital. And I remember the nurse, and she was actually one of the ones that was up here as a nurse practitioner, Edith. She would come in, and I used to think to myself, I hope she's bringing morphine. I hope she's bringing me something to do with the pain. And one day she asked me, what do you think your blood sugar test is going to be? And I told her, and she says, I think it's going to be this. And I think she won that first one. But there started a game. Every time she came in my room to test my blood sugars, you know what? I transformed from where's the morphine to I can't wait to play the game. And it dawns on me a month later, and I really wanted to get up and give all of these people a hug. But it dawned on me much later what this young lady was doing was she was valuing my importance as a human being and giving me a little break, just a peace of mind from the pain. That's what she was really doing. She probably had no interest in seeing who won. I did, but it got me off to a good start. The first time I was able to walk around the nurse's station, I was met with two things. I was met with a high five and these words, you are a rock star. Those small things will stay with me the rest of my life. As I was coming into cardiac rehabilitation, I would pass an office that was behind closed glass. I think the lady had something to do with the emergency room. And I don't know if there's a number of people here that have gone through cardiac rehabilitation. And as you know, sometimes it's a little bit depressing, sometimes it's a little bit daunting. But this lady would give me a smile. And then the next few times it turned to a smile and a wave. And every day I got up to come to rehab, I wasn't thinking about woe is me. I was thinking about I can't wait to see that smile and that wave. That's what I look forward to. And finally, the last one I'll share with you is I was leaving an event here at the hospital, very much like what you're at today. And there was a gentleman on his hands and knees washing the glass windows of the door that I was going to be exiting. And as I approached, I said to him, boy, you're doing a fantastic job. I promise you I won't mess them up. This man stands, and he turns, he looks at me with a big smile, and he says, it's quite all right if you do so, sir. So I was that important to him that it was okay if I messed up his good work on those windows. You see, those types of little things run rampant in this hospital. That's my, so it's time to put some color on this. You see, these unsung heroes, they place their lives on hold for me. They taught me about my medications, about dieting, about exercise. They taught me how to smile for no reason. They taught me how to be kind to a stranger, and I learned how wonderful it felt to be kind. You know, they encouraged me, they challenged me, they even high-fived me. But most importantly, they ministered to June at a time I was unable to. And it didn't ask for anything in return. My Life 2.0 that I'm living is based upon their example. I'd like to put some color on my painting as I wrap it up, and that color is, what do these unsung heroes do? Why do they matter and the difference they make? What they do is they make bucket lists possible to achieve. They save, restore, extend, and enhance life. All of them. It takes an army. Why do they matter? Without them, there is no diagnosis, there is no procedure, there is no surgery, and people don't live. And you see, they do this for people that are not even in their direct care. You see, I'm aware of countless cases where people in the state of Texas and even the outside of the state of Texas heard something about our journey, heard something about the chapter of the story that we went through and the success of this hospital in that. And it was compelling enough for them to go get checked out, compelling enough to make a difference. And a number of these people got checked out were in a very similar situation that I was and had life-saving surgery. I find it very profound that the great work that the people do here can extend well beyond the confines of their department, well beyond the confines of their facility, and actually save lives for people that they never meet. I find that quite profound. So that's my, the difference that the difference that they make. The most amazing, precious, and inspirational observation I have is about these unsung heroes. You see, they're just like me, they're just like you. They have life. But when they come in here, they put life behind them. And you know what they do? When I come into this place, you know what I feel? I feel they give, and they give, and they give, and they give until. And not one time did they ever ask for anything in return. They're selfless, and they dedicate their time and their energy and talent to bettering the lives of others. I like to say they do what makes the angels smile. I've also gone on record to say this is why I refer to this place as a hospital of angels. I'm going to sign this work of art in just a moment. Before I do, I would like to share with you, I think each one of you has an opportunity to create your own work of art, just like they've done in the hospital, just like I've shared with you today, and I would encourage you to do it around awareness, about heart disease awareness. To get started, I would invite you to share the chapter that June and I went through. Tell somebody, tell a neighbor, tell a family member, tell a work colleague, just tell somebody. Get acquainted with the American Heart Association. They would bend over backwards and be delighted to help you raise awareness. You see, if you do this, if you create your own work of heart in your own way, you will indeed contribute to somebody achieving their bucket list. You will contribute to saving, restoring, extending, and enhancing somebody's life. I know this to be true. I have personal experience it. You see, without all of us, every one of you in here, all of us doing this, I'm afraid that this great world war that's being waged on heart disease will come to an end. And unfortunately, we won't win. And personally speaking, people like June will lose their husband. People like my son will lose his father. And people like Kevin III will not get to meet his grandfather. The American Heart Association has been a great source of inspiration and awareness for me. They were the only source of information that could take me through everything that I went through, every test, every procedure, et cetera, and tell me what that was like in terms of I could understand it, tell me what the recovery times were, some of the mental and emotional aspects of it. They're also an organization that helped me understand my medications very well. They help me understand my medications. They help me understand how to diet, how to exercise, and they also help you with understanding high blood sugars, high blood pressure, and cholesterol. But the thing that I think they do most, and they don't really proclaim this, they're all about living a heart-healthy life. I think they take it a step further. They're all about living a good life. A heart-healthy life is part of that. You see, they talk about relieving stress. So I would get acquainted with them. I truly hope I've said something today that's inspired you or you know somebody that can be inspired by something I said today. I believe that a number of you will indeed contribute to saving a person's life as a result of painting your own picture, your own work of heart. And before I close, I'd like to report that sadly, since I began speaking, 37 people in this country have had a heart attack. And in 40 more seconds from now, another person is going to suffer a heart attack, and it's not going to stop. So I'd like to sign my work of heart. Unlike an artist, I don't think of myself as an artist. They sign their paintings. I'd like to sign mine, but I'm not going to sign it with my name. I'm going to sign it with a little thing that I give back to the Heart Hospital and to the American Heart Association. And on the bottom right-hand corner of my painting are inscribed these words: as patients, we move on, we move forward, but we never, ever forget. You are never, ever left behind, especially in our time of prayer. I am deeply grateful and honored for the precious time that you've shared with me today. And coming from a very, very deep place in my heart, may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.